You can't make the most of your data if it's stuck in different silos. If it's scattered across the cloud, on-prem, and with your apps, then it's hard to access, hard to work with, and increasingly expensive. Now you can see it all and manage it all from one place. Welcome to Data Done Right. You can start managing your data, not your infrastructure. It's unified, simple, secure, and it's only with a Pure Storage platform. Get started at purestorage.com.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Super Sale and get 40% off paints and stains September 19th through the 24th. With prices starting at $29.39, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Weight loss solutions are not one size fits all. Hers makes it simpler to get started and stick with a weight loss plan, backed by expert-guided online care that puts your weight loss goals first. These include oral medication kits or compounded GLP-1 injections. Through Hers, pricing for oral medication kits start at just $69 a month for a 10-month plan when paid in full up front. No hidden fees, no membership fees. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hers brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. Reach your weight loss goals with help through Hers. Get started at forhers.com/4u to access affordable, doctor-trusted weight loss plans. That's forhers.com/4u, forhers.com/4u. Paid for by Hims and Hers Health. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions at forhers.com apply.
If you love entertainment, current events, and Hollywood, don't miss Creator to Creators, hosted by the filmmaker Mio Shabin, known for the Shudder hit documentary Horror Noir and the acclaimed film Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, Redemption. This show features interviews with filmmakers and creatives from around the globe. Join the fun with guest celebrities and gain valuable insights. Subscribe now and follow Creator to Creators.
Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today, we have a special guest.
Hey, it's JH-X9 here.
Welcome. I'm very excited to talk to you because, I don't really get too many artists that are, doing producing their own, music. And it's just so cool, very different. But let's go back to the beginning. I love going back to the beginning. I always say that beginning charts our trajectory in life, little habits we pick up along the way, follow us into our adulthood. Tell me a little bit about your childhood. What was that like? And when did the love for music begin?
So I first started making music when I was about 6 years old. My parents saw that I liked making noise, and so they got me a drum set for Christmas. And then shortly thereafter, they enrolled me in drumming lessons. I took drumming lessons probably up through probably about the end of middle school. Um, in middle school, I discovered electronic music, though, specifically how to make electronic music. The music I grew up around, my parents listened to a lot of music from the 80s and 90s, music from, the time, when they were teenagers and young adults. And so a lot of that was synth-pop music. There was some dance music, really a whole range of things, not all of electronic, but the stuff I really latched onto as a child was the electronic stuff. And playing the drums, I was always fascinated with rhythm, but I was always a little bit disappointed with the sound the drums made. I wanted it to sound, I wanted the drums to sound bigger and weirder and more electronic. And I always kind of wondered, how do artists like, well, how did the Prodigy get, the drums to sound that way or whoever. And so, I learned probably about, 11, 12 years of age, what a DAW was, what a synthesizer was. And so I started making music just with freeware, free synthesizer, software, free DAW software, and I kind of moved on from there. I eventually got to the point where I thought the music that I was making, sounded good enough that it was ready for me to, kind of showcase to the world. And then when I was in high school, I released my first album in 2016. It was junior year of high school.
Nice.
Yeah, I released the album. It was called Manufactured World.
So when you released that song in high school, like, I mean, I'm so curious. Like, what did were you like expecting reactions from friends? Like, were you like showing everybody? Were you nervous?
To be honest, I had no real clue about the music industry or anything like that, or I guess what, the kind of, logical path would be. For me, it was just kind of putting the music out there,
Mhm.
and feeling like, hey, here's this thing I made. Now people can go on the internet and listen to it at any time. Um, and so, yeah, for me, I think the learning kind of, about exposure
Mhm.
and the music industry and how things work, and even more, in-depth aspects of production. Those are
Mhm.
kind of things I picked up a little bit later on.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, at first it was just I was kind of just like, hey, putting it out there.
Yeah, which I love. I love that. Growing up in Metro Detroit, how did the city techno and industrial legacy shape your sound and artistic vision?
Yeah, so for me, I think my music reflects the qualities of Detroit techno music, specifically the rhythmic qualities of Detroit techno music. Um, Detroit techno music, it's kind of characterized by this, kind of robotic, kind of mechanical sound that is, you know, partially rooted in the fact that Detroit is, at one point it was a factory city. Big, legacy of, the automotive industry, and the fact that, a lot of artists, were kind of inspired by their surroundings, I think, when, making music. And so for me, I've always kind of been fascinated with electronic sounds, and I like machines, and I like a little bit of science fiction
Hmm.
and, robots and things like that. And so it was kind of a natural fit, I guess, for me to, be drawn to Detroit techno.
I love that. I love that. I'm just so curious. What does the alter ego JHX9 represents for you personally compared to Justin?
So JH-X9, I guess I'll start out with what the letters mean. The first two are kind of obvious. Those are my initials. The nine is because I was born in 1999, and then
Nice.
the X in there is just because um, I think there is.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Super Sale and get 40% off paints and stains September 19th through the 24th. With prices starting at $29.39, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Super Sale and get 40% off paints and stains September 19th through the 24th. With prices starting at $29.39, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
With the alias JH-X9 that I use, there is what they call, that X factor,
Yeah.
right? Is that different and unknown kind of element. And what the alter ego JH-X9 kind of represents for me is a perfection of all the qualities of myself that I think are, I guess, the best qualities of myself. Um, if I think of JHX9 as a separate person or a separate persona, I'd say I'm the man and then he's a machine.
I love that. That's actually really cool. That's really cool. So, I want to definitely get into, this new single that you released. I'm curious of the process. What was the process of making this single like, and why now?
So the single, I started recording Heavy Water, I want to say last year, probably about spring of 2024.
Okay.
And instrumentally, the song started with that melodic line in there. There's a kind of floaty melodic hook. It's got, this kind of melancholy sound.
Nice.
I used a synthesizer called a Roland D-10. Is actually it's an old synthesizer. It's an old digital synth from 1988.
Wow.
And uh, uh, from there, I kind of built the rhythm around that melodic line. I developed a bass line. I, developed a, drum loop, and I, built those elements out. And one of the cool aspects about my music, and, it applies to this song as well, is that the sounds that you hear in there are all programmed by me.
Nice.
Um, Aside from my voice, of course. But the sounds themselves, the all the synth sounds I programmed by hand, even the drum sounds,
Oh, wow.
I I created them all and I recorded them into my DAW and built the song out from them. But I feel like that's a unique way as a songwriter, as a producer, to give my music a sense of identity that
Mm,
it's mine.
nice. Yeah, I was just gonna ask that. I was just curious, like, do you usually choose instruments based on the vibe you want, or do the instruments inspire the vibe? So that's interesting. Um, so your music blends like a lot of different influences, J-pop, industrial, right? Techno. How do you keep all those styles cohesive while sounding like you, distinctively you?
So in the past, for a long time, um, I kind of felt like the songs that I created, I kind of had to like silo them into one genre
Hmm.
or one subgenre or another. And I kind of operated that way for a long time. I even had another project. It was called Sandstone, where I collaborate with a guitarist to make, music, where it's synth pop music with a guitar. Um, for me, the material that I'm working on now, specifically the stuff that I've been releasing, in the past, year, with this single, what that material kind of represents to me is an expression of my versatility as a producer. So, whereas before I might have said, "Oh, well, this has got to be an electronic body music song, and this one's going to be a synthwave song," and I got to kind of, silo them off. Now I feel less constrained by that idea. I feel like I can blend the genres, as a producer because most of the music that I'm influenced by kind of exists in that dance music sphere. I
Hmm.
can kind of, I feel like I can find unique and interesting ways to, meld and blend these different subgenres of electronic music together in ways that I think a lot of people maybe haven't heard.
Yeah, no, and I think that's really, really cool that you're doing that. I mean, because music today is just so it's just so different, and it's just so much going on with music. And you're here today, gone tomorrow, and there's like, there's a hit, and then there's like something else and moving on. It's just like, you don't really hear really artistic music and people that are daring to do something different. So thank you for wanting to do that, because a lot of people, I guess it's like people want the popularity and all that, but it's like everything sounds so like the same. And I
Yeah,
think, yeah.
I think some of that maybe has to do with the way that a lot of people consume music has
Mm,
changed so much over the years. But I definitely kind of see what you're saying though there with kind of the stuff that gets the most exposure is kind of the music that maybe is the most homogenous.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Who are some of your biggest musical influences outside of the electronic, industrial scene that might surprise your listeners?
Um, so aside as far as like my favorite musicians go, or musical groups, there's some that are probably obvious to listeners, like New Order and Depeche Mode, two of my favorite bands. But another one of my favorite bands is a group called the Jesus and Mary Chain. Um, and they're a really interesting group that originated in the 1980s. And they are, I think, a great blend of, guitarists and drum machines. I love music that's able to blend the organic and the technological element like that.
Hmm.
Um, and the Jesus and Mary chain were really influential as far as like creating, the genesis of like shoegaze music and all that.
Mm,
So
okay.
that's one where it's a group that is not entirely electronic, but they're one of my top five favorite bands.
Nice. Nice. If you could produce a song or something, or maybe like a joint album with it could be an artist or a producer, who would it be?
So earlier, one of the genres you mentioned, I'm glad that you caught that I like is J-pop. I've been getting into a lot of Japanese pop and electronic
Mhm.
music lately, and there's recently there is a small, a smaller kind of up and coming idol singer named Nano Ayasaka, and I listen to her music, that she's released in really recent years. I think it sounds really cool. I think it's really cool the way her music kind of calls back to the kind of the earliest um, uh, era of what would now be considered J-pop music, which is
Mm,
like kind of like the late 80s. And so it's got this really cool throwback sound, and that's an example of an artist that I think would be really cool to collaborate with.
nice.
Um, yeah.
That's cool. Your mouth to God's ears. That it'll happen. It'll definitely happen. So you described, heavy water as a fluid and danceable all at once. Like, what do you think, or what do you hope listeners feel when they hear it?
Um, when people listen to Heavy Water, I hope that they feel a sense of depth to the music. Um, I hope that it's a song that they feel it's compelling enough that they can listen to it kind of in any setting. Not just, on the dance floor in the club,
Hmm.
but also, maybe driving in the car, or maybe just, sitting at home with a glass of wine or something.
That sounds great. Your track has been featured on shows. And how does it feel to see your music resonate in the darker electronic community?
I think it's a natural fit. I think it feels good because that's gothic electronic music, um, you know, industrial electronic body music. Those are genres that my parents listened to a lot, and I was exposed to a lot growing up. And, they're genres that are prominent in my own music taste.
Mm,
So it feels really good to see people that like that kind of music, um, have, latched on to my music.
I love that. This is a question I'm just curious about. If Heavy Water were a film scene, what kind of visual world would you imagine it soundtracking?
Um, I think so. Maybe uh, kind of darker kind of scene, but I'd imagine like I when I listen to the song, I imagine like sinking, under like a current or the
Mm,
ocean or just like endless water. So I imagine someone drowning.
like a loop of endless drowning.
Yeah, yeah, or like a car like sinking into the ocean or
Oh
something like
wow.
that.
I like that. I like that. That's cool. Do you feel like the music world, and you've been in the music industry for a minute now, do you feel like the music world is changing for the better and in favor of the artist, you know?
Um, unfortunately, well, there's two aspects to it.
Hmm.
I think, in my opinion, I think nowadays people have easier access to the tools necessary to create music than they ever had before. And I think that's great, that, people have, you know, access to the vehicles that, allow them to express these ideas in their mind. Um, on the other side of it, it is harder, I think, than ever, uh, for people to get their music heard though, and to like actually like make money off of music. I so I'd say like trend wise, there are good things that are happening. I see a lot of artists that are kind of they're not afraid to make a stand for the things that they believe in. I think that's good.
Yeah.
But but there's a lot of, I guess I feel, a devaluation maybe, of music, and kind of art in general, which is kind of unfortunate. So I mean, there's a good side and a bad side to it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think I appreciate you sharing that because, you see eh, um just like social media, we see the best photos, the highlights, not the late night staying up at 5 a.m. trying to figure out how we're gonna make something happen, or putting music out or the creative process. And I think a lot of people don't not necessarily understand the, like you said, the work that you have to put into your art so that it is, on a level that's like wow, and doing it on your own as an indie artist is, I'm sure, just really hard. But the fact that you make it work, I just find that, so you're right. We have the tools, but there's those people that were like, I want to be signed to a big label, but then you see the other side of that is that, they're not getting the creative space, or, they don't really have, they're in these contracts for so many years and can't get out of them, and don't have any freedom. And then the indie side is like, oh, you have more freedom, but it's like, it's like a, yeah, I don't know, it's good and bad, I guess. But yeah, you make it look easy.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take that as a definite compliment.
Absolutely, absolutely. You said that you versatility is a goal for your newer music. What's something you're experimenting with that fans might not expect?
Um, so you actually hear a little bit of it on Heavy Water. I'm experimenting with the use of vocoders actually.
Nice.
Not necessarily as a forefront, you know, two turntables and a microphone kind of, thing up front, but actually as like a backing vocal.
Hmm.
And for those who don't know, a vocoder is basically kind of a precursor to auto-tune, the auto-tune that we know kind of
Nice.
today. Vocoder is a little bit of a simpler technology, but it allows you to give your voice this synthesized tone, to explain it simply. And I've been using that to kind of layer with my vocals. Another thing that I think maybe people don't expect so much, uh, given my track record for having made, kind of a lot of maybe more industrial tinged kind of dance music,
Hmm.
is the material that I'm working on now. I'm kind of stripping back some of that distortion,
Hmm.
stripping back maybe, some of the filtering and stuff that I use on my vocals. And that's partially for me because I really want to let the sound design stand on its own. And I feel also at the same time that I've also improved kind of as a vocalist over time.
Nice. I love that. You've opened up for oh my gosh, for the first time in 2019, live first time performance, which I'm sure was huge. What did that experience, you know, uh, you know, feel like for like a live setting?
So, opening for Lovaterex, when they came around in 2019, they were doing a tour of the US, and um, it was actually kind of before they had as many resources, and so they were kind of just doing it on their own, actually.
Mm,
Um, but they needed someone to, they needed a few bands to play a show with for, Detroit show. And so I was one of the bands that opened from, I was one of the bands they contacted. And the show itself, actually, it wasn't not that many people showed up. But I think partially that was because of logistics. We
mhm.
actually had to change the venue twice
Oh, wow.
in setting up the show. So it wasn't, I guess, like a big crowd turnout kind of situation. But as a first live show to, be able to play alongside, a somewhat established Gothic band like that who are on tour, I thought, that's kind of another, it was like another milestone for me.
Nice. I love that. I love that. So I love asking this question for every guest, and there's no wrong answer, I promise. The three levels of influence: money, power, and respect. And if you could choose only one of those things, which one would you choose and why?
I choose money. And I know maybe that sounds a little shallow,
No, I think it's great.
but yeah, the reason is my dad kind of has this phrase that he always tells me, and he says money equals freedom.
Mm,
And so when you have money, you kind of have an easier, I feel like you kind of have an easier route to obtaining things like fame. And for
mm,
me, I I feel like that kind of applies to my situation as a musician. Because when I was starting out, I didn't have access to, many resources when I was in high school. I didn't have a job or anything. So, it was the financial aspect of it was way scaled back to compared to where it is now. Now that I have a job and I can buy, buy myself, things like studio monitors and, fund releases and things like that myself. So I feel like money is kind of a good gateway uh into into a lot of things that I desire.
yeah, no, I think it's a great answer. I mean, most people say respect, and I'm just like, like really, who cares?
Yeah,
Like
respect won't feed you.
absolutely not, absolutely not. So I thank you for sharing the real answer, like what you feel, and not like because I hear a lot of respect. I hear it sounds nice, but it's like, would we actually choose that if we could? So I appreciate that. And I'm with you. I totally agree. Um, your music often feels, obviously, human and robotic, emotional, yet mechanical. Do you see your art as a reflection of where technology and humanity are heading?
I think absolutely. The material I'm working on now, I'm working on actually an album's worth of material. The tentative title of the album is Behind the Firewall.
Mm,
And thematically, the album actually deals with the two sides, the dualism between the digital world and the, I guess, physical world. I like dualism, and I like the idea of, two different sides of things. And so I think that with the digital world versus the physical world, you can explore things like the permanence of things. Um, yeah, heavy water is, kind of fits into that thematically. But I feel like in the physical world where, we might see places and things and people, change and fade away around us. In the digital world, there's almost like this sense of permanence
mm,
where you can turn up media, like pictures or writing from pretty much any point in recorded human history. And it's almost like those things become immortal through the digital world. And so
mm.
that's uh, a facet of the album, actually, thematically, that I'm exploring.
I love that. That's awesome. Where do you see JH-X9 evolving in the next, I don't know, 5 years, both sonically and as a performer?
So right now, I'm, I feel like specifically with the release of this single and the past, month or so in particular, I've put a lot of energy and effort and resources into my music. For a while, I kind of had a hiatus after I graduated college and became employed. I didn't have as much time for the music, and I didn't have as many ideas, I guess, to express.
Hmm.
And so after 2020, I kind of, went into this kind of dormant state. But now I've got, you know, I feel like I've got this uh, vast horizon of ideas that I'm exploring for music. And so I'm going to I'm really making a conscious push to expand the reach of JH-X9 and um, just put out the best music I possibly can. So I feel like uh, in the next 5 years, who knows? You might see me touring. You might see you might see my music videos on MTV. Still play music videos?
I think so. I think so.
Something like yeah. So it's honestly that's the brilliant thing about the future is that the uncertainty principle. We don't know what's going to happen until it happens.
I like that. I like that. Where can people find you on social media to follow everything you have going on?
So I am on Twitter, or I guess it's called X now. It's at JH-X9 official. I'm also on Facebook. JH-X9 has a Facebook page. I have a Bandcamp page as well.
Nice.
That's a great platform for releasing music. You can
Hmm.
actually buy physical CD of
I
mine
love
on.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I was really that was before I kind of went on hiatus, like after 2020.
Yeah.
I made a point to kind of do this milestone kind of release, and I wanted like I'm gonna do a physical CD. I'm gonna have the CDs, I'm gonna send these songs actually to be like printed like at a CD factory, like
Nice.
not just burning it myself in like the disc player, but like
Yeah.
have them pressed. And so um that's there's a CD on my Bandcamp page called A Collision, and it collects kind of some of what I consider my best work up leading up to 2020. And then now with this next album that I'm working on, I'm hoping to have that one made as a CD as well, with this time with bonus tracks, and I'm looking at uh, doing maybe a little booklet in there, so
Oh, nice.
way you pop the CD in the CD player, you look at the booklet, and you can see all the great pictures and content inside.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, music. It's so good to see like a physical copy, instead of streaming music. So that's really cool. Congratulations on that. And thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure talking to you.
It was a pleasure to be here, Miosha.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.